Fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well, and huge congrats to Madison Keys for winning her first Grand Slam title in the Australian Open, first defeating Iga Swiatek in the semifinals and then beating Aryna Sabalenka in the finals, two nail-biters, and she really kept her cool, very impressive to see, and she was playing some great tennis throughout the fortnight in Australia, in Melbourne. But she also won the title in Auckland the week before, and she's done all that with a new racket. You who are tennis nerds, I'm sure you have noticed that she is playing with a Yonex E-Zone, is it? I got some questions, quite a lot of questions actually, about this blacked out racket. The telltale sign here is the blue grommet strip, but we'll get to that. If we go back into her racket history, she did make some changes just before she moved over to Yonex from Wilson. Earlier in her career, she was using the Ultra Pro, also known as the H19 if we get into pro stock lingo. This is a very low powered racket. It really goes back into the days where you really need to create all the energy on the ball yourself. It's all about control, it's all about precision and being able to hit a dime on the court. These days, these rackets are less and less popular. You need more power, the game is faster, the balls are not as good. There's a lot of complaints about that as well. No matter what, the game is faster. They are hitting harder with polyester strings that really make the ball dip into play. So most pros are looking for more power and more forgiveness from the racket. That makes a lot of sense. So she went from the H19, the Wilson Ultra Pro, that you actually could purchase alongside the Blade Pro, which she transitioned to. You could buy this through the Wilson Pro Labs program, but these days that seems to be discontinued. I checked Tennis Warehouse, please use the links in the description if you want to do that as well, and they don't have these rackets anymore from the Wilson Pro Labs, and Wilson.com. They seem to have removed the Blade Pro and the Ultra Pro, which is a shame. They were very good rackets and used by many pros, as I've talked about on tennisnerd.net and on this YouTube channel. So she went from Ultra Pro Super Control to the Blade Pro, a little bit thicker beam, a little bit more power. And just some months back, and Roddick talked about this on the Serve podcast, she also went from playing with 1820 and a hybrid string setup with natural gut and hollow power to a full bed of hollow power in a 1619. So trying to have more lift on the ball, trying to have full bed of polyester to control that lift and get more spin on her shots and make it more difficult for her opponents. So her racket trajectory really went from kind of old school racket in the Ultra Pro to a bit more help with the Blade Pro, and now to the Yonex E-Zone 98, and she strings it with Yonex Polytour Rev. And if you go to the Tennis Warehouse website and her player profile, you see that she is endorsing using the Yonex E-Zone 98 with that blue grommet strip. So you might ask, why is her racket blacked out with that blue grommet strip? Maybe Yonex sent her some test frames when she was still with the Wilson contract, and that was not confirmed, and they're customized to her specs, and she started playing with those. And even if Yonex can send her a new batch with the cosmetic that they're trying to sell, the retail cosmetic of the Yonex E-Zone 98 2025, I think it would make sense for her to stay with the one that worked. Even if it's the same racket on paper, a lot of tennis players are superstitious, and I completely get it. Like, if you have a racket that you want a tournament with, you want to continue with that one in the next tournament. So that could be one reason that the racket is blacked out and with that blue grommet strips. So you still know that it's the new E-Zone, but her rackets were blacked out. I'm sure when we see her next, she will be playing with the Yonex E-Zone cosmetic. I think Yonex, they don't want to pass up that opportunity, because for them it's a bit of a shame that she won now 2 tournaments playing with the Yonex E-Zone 98 2025, and not everyone knows. I mean, most people don't know, because I get so many questions on Instagram, Tennis Nerd Insta, via email, and the website tennisnerd.net about which racket she actually uses. To me, this looks like a Yonex E-Zone 98 2025 version, a racket I've reviewed alongside 100 on the YouTube channel and on the website, so check that out. It's a great racket. Does this mean that the Yonex E-Zone 98 is the best racket of all time? No, of course not. This is all about like personal taste, and many things in tennis are subjective. It's what you experience when you hit the ball, how you play, your technique, your game style, and so on. But it seems to really work for her. She's a very aggressive ball striker. The E-Zone gives you good power, and she has a big serve as well, which the E-Zone is pretty known for, giving you a good serve, kind of in that pure drive style of racket, and Yonex are very popular, especially on the WTA tour. We have seen also on the ATP tour some prominent Yonex switches. Previously, we saw Tommy Paul go from his Wilson blade to a V-core, and we also seen Brandon Nakashima, another American player, go from his Pure Strike to first the E-zone and then now the V-core. And it's also used by João Fonseca, like the new next-gen star, who is a great player to watch. So Yonex are really taking ground, but even more so on the WTA tour. If we just look at the top 10 on the WTA tour right now, you have quite a few players like Jasmine Paolini, Jessica Pegula, Elena Rybakina, and Emma Navarro, all playing with the Yonex brand. It seems like the V-core is more popular among most players, but the E-zone is also quite a popular frame. So Yonex are definitely doing something right. And if I look at the analytics on my own YouTube channel and on tennisnerd.net, I can see that Yonex kind of create more interest, based on the numbers at least, than even other big brands like Wilson, Babola, and Head. So Yonex are really hot, and now with this win, I'm sure they will keep on going and keep on growing, especially maybe on the WTA tour. So you cannot say what one brand is better than the other, but Yonex definitely seem to be on a hot streak, and we might see even more players switch over to Yonex. We will see. If you're curious about Yonex rackets, the new E-zones, or any other rackets or pro player gear, check out tennisnerd.net, where we have loads of information. You have like a racket and string guide as well, and we offer a consultation service. You can find that, the link is in the description. I work with everyone from beginners to pro players. I hope to be able to help you with the content or with the consultation. Big congrats again to Madison Keys. It was really fun watching her win, and a well-deserved first Grand Slam title. Maybe more to come. She started the year in the best possible way, and that racket switch seems to have been perfect for her. Sometimes it's a mental thing. You just groove with a racket. You feel like this works for me. You're building confidence with every win. And then that just comes together. We all know how much of a mental game tennis is, and sometimes the racket can ruin the mental part when you're lost in the racket jungle, and sometimes when you're feeling that the racket resonates with you and everything's working together and it's kind of an extension of your arm, then the magic can happen. That's what we've seen with Madison's amazing last couple of weeks. Let me know in the comments what you think of her win, what you think of Yonex rackets, and what you think of anything else. That's it for today. Have a nice day, and don't forget to play some tennis.